I don't think Mark's a clone.
Okay. I don't have much to back it up, so I can't really argue with you.
Okay, cool.
Let's get this party started.
A handshake is available upon request.
Thank you. May I have a handshake? Every time you find yourself here, it's because you chose to come back.
Innies, outies, shake it all abouties, welcome back to Severance with the Boys, the podcast where we will never discuss your multiple contretemps or schedule you for monthly performance reviews. I'm your host, Luke Frost, and as usual, I'm joined by fellow Innie, Jonathan D. Say hi, John.
Hi, John.
John, how was your week? Have you enjoyed each day equally?
Week's been good. We've been dumped on by snow this week, so that's been fun trying to walk and take the dog out and such in snow and ice. But otherwise, not much going on this week. Again, it's the middle of winter. Not much happens.
It's a frozen nightmare.
What about yourself?
It's been good. We had a work Christmas party this week in real life, not in Severance world. And a few people told me they have listened to the podcast and they enjoy it, so that was really nice to hear. So shout out Belinda. Let's go.
Let's go, Belinda!
We do have a special guest this week. He is a friend of ours and local to the town of Kia.
Wait, do you hear the elevator?
Oh yeah, this must be him.
Oh, hey guys, how we doing?
It's Drew K. Hi Drew, how are you?
Doing well. Happy to be here. Thanks.
How's your week been? What's new?
The week's been pretty good. Can't complain. I really enjoyed this week's episode of Severance, and I did want to say real quick here, I promise I won't use too many big words. I assure you all my paper clips are fastened according to Lumen specifications. Quick question. May I ask a question?
Of course. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, is this thing going to go longer than 4 hours? Because I could use a menu.
All right, guys, before we get started this week, I did do a little interview with Helena Egan that I want to play for you a little section of. So here it is. Okay, Helena, I just wanted to ask you, we did get a couple of downvotes on our YouTube episode last week. I just want to know your thoughts on that.
They're fucking animals.
Well, that seems a little aggressive. Is everything okay?
I said I'm fine.
Okay, well, thanks for being here. Yeah, so that was Helena Egan. So thanks, Helena, for joining us. Okay. Okay, we're just going to recap this week's episode real quick. If there's one thing we all should have learned about Severance by now, it's that they're not giving up many answers too soon. In fact, they're adding more. Like, who the hell is the whistling maniac pushing surgery tools on a cart down the Lumen hallway? We don't get to see his face, but Felicia and her buddy seem very wary of him. Turns out this nutter is merrily on his way to the exports hall. What is that? We don't know yet. As Mark sorts through his weekly meds while chatting to Devon on the phone, rent dodger Agabi complains about the facilities in Mark's basement. Next we head over to Lumen, where a pissed off Helena meets with Big Drummond and Natalie. She has informed her Innie must go back down to MDR and work among the very same people that tried to drown her a few days ago, because Mark S won't complete the mysterious and important work without her. An extremely confused Helly is greeted on the 7th floor by local assistant creep Miss Huang. She's ushered into Milchick's office where a scheduled chat with Mark, Dylan, and the boss man awaits. The Innies are informed Irving won't be coming back. Back at MDR, the desk configuration has changed. The Innies won't be getting a new co-worker. Irv has been scrubbed from the team photos and Dylan negotiates a funeral for him. What is going on with Mark? His cough is getting worse, he's pissed off at Helly. Meanwhile, in the back office, Milchick and Miss Huang engage in conversation where Miss Huang suggests the Innies shouldn't have a funeral because it makes them feel like people. What the hell is going on with this kid? Next is a funeral for Irving B, complete with custom cups, an animation of Irving, and a hilarious yet moving eulogy by Dylan G. The Innies are treated to an Irv-themed melon head. As Dylan lingers in the room, he remembers what Irv said to him at the end of the last episode. He promptly checks behind the hang in there poster on the wall and finds handwritten directions from Irv, complete with a drawn picture to the export hall. Milchick pushes Natalie for her feelings on the racist paintings she received from Lumen. She dodges the question and it's on to Milchick's performance review. It doesn't go well. Is Milchick starting to crack? What did Milchick pick for lunch? Are we going to get the all-important Milchick backstory episode? We can only hope. As Mark tries to leave 6 minutes early from work, Milchick hops in the elevator with him, and in a heated exchange, Milchick asks if Mark has informed Helly that he and Helena made the beast with 2 backs. Side note, Mark looks like he just got caught doing the Dieter Egan in the woods. Back in the outie world, Devon and Rickon debate working for Lumen. Turns out Rickon is a big sellout and Devon calls him out on it. Holy shit, it's Irv! It's only been 38 minutes of Severance showtime since we saw him last, but it feels like a lifetime. Irv confronts Bert, who has been weirdly watching him from a parked car, and Bert invites him for dinner with his husband, Fields. That was weird. Back at Mark's, Rigabi continues to be the worst roommate ever, looking through Gemma's stored away belongings, and hey look! It's Gemma's ashes in a box in Mark's basement. If there's a surefire way to get yourself a ghost problem, that's how. Speaking of ghosts, Mark starts to hear Gemma's voice. His realities are blending and he is hearing Miss Casey telling him facts about himself. As Mark trips out, he finds himself in a long lumen hallway, and for the first time he gets the confirmation he's been looking for. It's Gemma, and she's right in front of him. Alright, let's talk about the scenes. That was a pretty weird opening, Drew. What did you think of that?
Yeah, it was something. We saw a gentleman kind of walking down, kind of looked like a morgue to me, to be honest. And we didn't see his face, so that leads me to believe that we may know who the character is. I'm going to throw it out there. Crazy theory here, but possibly Petey. Who knows? I don't know. We don't know if he's dead or not. At least I don't think we do.
Shit.
And I'm wondering if PD's sort of involved in some sort of way.
Straight into theory corner.
Well, I mean, isn't that what this show is? The show is nothing but theory. It tells you so much while telling you nothing at all. It kind of drops little breadcrumbs here and there. I did a little deep dive into kind of trying to find out a little bit more, and actually the thing he was whistling, the song he was whistling was like an old shipwreck tune. Anyways, it signified doom and gloom and death, essentially. So, I mean, whatever that guy's doing, it's shady, it's not good. And because we didn't see his face, again, I that leads me to believe we know who he is already. So
wild. Okay, I didn't even think of PD. I was actually thinking Daddy Egan. But
I mean, it could be. I mean, but why would they show? Why hide his face then, right?
Somebody else as well.
Yeah.
So.
Who do you
We've
have,
all
John?
got a different person who it is. So I got Fields, Bert's husband.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Did you guys notice? I'm not sure if you were as nerdy as me with this stuff. I kind of paused it and like zoomed in to the face when it was like long distance showing it, and the editors have actually pixeled it. You can't see it.
Did they? Fair enough.
Oh, nice. Okay. The song he was whistling was "The Wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald."
That's what it was.
An old folk song by Gordon Lightfoot, and it just tells the tale of the ship in a terrible storm that split in half, and none of the bodies were found or something like that. It was a very weird old folksy tale type thing.
Split in half, like an innie and an outie.
Yep. It's almost as if they think of this stuff.
Got a theme here.
Okay, let's talk about that boardroom scene with Helena and Mr. Drummond and Natalie. John, what do you got for that?
So yeah, good scene. Obviously, Helena is shitting her pants that they're going to send her back down there. And as she quotes, they are fucking animals. Yes, you can see like the kind of fear in her heart with her because her innie hasn't tried to kill her, obviously, and now she's putting her back down there. And then last time she was down herself, she nearly got murdered. But then obviously that conversation expires about her father wanting the best and all this kinds of stuff, and how he's not been made aware of certain things because he's still a massive dick.
Where is he?
These kinds of things.
Why are we barely seeing him? There's got to be a reason.
In his like hyperbaric Sith Lord chamber or whatever.
I just think there's another reason we're not seeing him as much. Like, is he down there somewhere playing the part of an innie? You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll see.
Well, there's a pretty important room we haven't seen yet that has a big dark hallway and takes you to an elevator. Perhaps he's down on that is it the 7th floor, whatever it is.
The exports hall.
Yeah, the exports hall.
There's one sentence that I hated when Drummond mentions, because they're on about her health and all this kind of stuff, and they said perhaps we could arrange another obligement session this evening, which I don't know what is, but I hate it.
It's a little weird, and she's like, "No, I don't need that."
Yeah,
no, not at all.
Drew, you got anything on that scene?
Yeah, one thing you guys didn't touch on that I was kind of thinking was how Helena was, I think she was hamming it up a little bit. I think she was kind of just saying what they wanted to hear. I think she's starting to kind of recognize the fact that this whole cult, or whatever you want to call it, Lumen, is kind of messed up. And perhaps she's having second thoughts about where she wants to be within her life and within said company. So if you go back to the previous episode where she was talking, kind of opening up a little bit to Mark, I think there's a bit of self-loathing there. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I think she's putting on a character or a mask in front of them when she's talking to them as well.
I completely agree with you, Drew. As I think we mentioned last episode and stuff, where I was saying with Helena on the outside, she doesn't really have a life. It's very confined to, you are a Lumen, you are a Egan, this is what you have to do, this is how everything's perceived for you. Whereas her innie had a life, she had friends, she fell in love. So I think it's all very, she's putting on a fucking face on the outside to not seem like a bastard.
Okay, next, Helly goes back down to the 7th floor for the first time in a while, I guess. Well, not to her, but to us, first time in a while. John, what do you make of that one?
Yeah, so like the doors open on her, she's clenched fist ready as Miss Huang is just there, and she's like, "Who the fuck are you?" Because like the last hour of Helly's life has consisted of going up and finding out she's an Egan. 5 minutes later, waking up being fucking drowned by Irv, and then being shut off again to being woken up in a lift with a child in front of you. So I imagine she's pretty confused and angry.
That's a pretty intense 5 minutes of life.
Yeah.
All right, next we head over to Milchick's office for the little staff meeting there. Drew, your thoughts on this little scene here?
Really feeling for Helly at this point, for sure. She's kind of coming to the realization that her body was stolen, even though it technically isn't her body and it is her body. But essentially, her personality was stolen, hijacked, right? And the fact that Milkshake was smoothing it over and kind of propping up Helena for doing a good deed and sort of mentioning that, you know, this is a long tradition for the Egans to be sort of integrating themselves within the common people. Essentially, it was complete espionage and spying, but it was flipped around like Lumen often does with everything they do, and turned into something that they should be, you know, happy happens. And I mean, you just got to feel for Helly, like John mentioned previously, with, you know, everything that's happened to her, and then just being told essentially that she was more or less, you know, emotionally assaulted. It was pretty rough day for
her. John, what did you think of that scene?
My quick 2 cents on that scene. I thought it was a good scene just to see all three of them kind of angry at Milchek, and like Dylan was super fucking pissed at him still, which is good because it kind of shows that even though he's still giving him those kind of perks, Dylan's still pretty pissed off because Irv was his best friend down there, and that was really cool. And then obviously Mark was pissed off, and Hallie was pissed off at them about the body swap and all this. It was just Milchek's whole greppen bullshit. which was great and fantastic for him to do full pronunciation in the middle of a very stoic kind of way he was speaking.
All right, let's talk about the bereavement package and the funeral. That was a pretty funny scene with the eulogy. John, what do you have for that?
So interesting that the bereavement mugs were great, and they were all drinking from Irv, but the scene previous to that, it showed a mug for everyone, so they already got a bereavement package for everyone, which is interesting.
Oh God,
yeah,
I saw that. Didn't pick up on that either.
Yeah, so that's a bit good. And then there's obviously the argument scene between Miss Huang and Milchek, because they are clearly not getting on with each other, and we'll talk more about that later. But then going into the funeral scene, which was great because Dylan gave the eulogy, and Dylan is just fantastic. His speech was just prime Dylan.
Yeah, it was incredible.
One last thing on the funeral scene. You touched on it on your opener, Luke. The melon head, kind of strange, cannibalistic even. The fact that they were consuming the person that they were, not a literal sense, but they, you know, Dylan's sitting there munching away on watermelon, and it's meanwhile it's half of his ear is missing. It was just kind of strange, the whole situation.
That's a good point. Drew, you touched on it, but the little thing they found behind the hang in there poster that was hinted at the end of last episode that a lot of people picked up on the old Reddit. And John?
And this guy right here.
John's on a theory streak where he's just hidden it all. So. That was a cool little scene. It kind of foreshadows that. I think it's obviously leading up to them going to the exports hall. I just hope it's not the last episode cliffhanger and we're left wondering what the exports hall is for another couple of years.
I hope not, because they're bringing they're pacing up a bit quicker now, so there's a lot going on. Like a fuck ton's happened in those last 5 episodes.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Milchek performance review scene, but also let's discuss his meeting with Natalie before that. Drew, let's hear it.
Yeah, to me that scene kind of showed some Milkshake cracking a little bit, if you ask me. He's been sort of the model employee, certainly trying as hard as he possibly can to, you know, do everything the Lumen way. And the fact that, you know, you could tell when he was handed those paintings, they rattled him. And I think it's obvious why they rattled him. And he went to, you know, a person that he saw as someone he could relate to in Natalie. And I don't know if I saw this anywhere, but I think Natalie was kind of sympathizing with him in a way. Even though she didn't say anything directly, she didn't have that, goofy smile on her face. She immediately kind of went, a little bit more somber. And even though she didn't use any words, you could tell she understood where he was coming from with regards to, the feeling he got for getting these strange ass paintings. It was an odd scene, but I think it could foreshadow the possibility of Milkshake maybe siding with the Innies a little bit more, or helping them out in the future in some way. Who knows?
I don't think Natalie is severed, and she has this fear on her face about saying the wrong thing. So maybe we'll learn more about the unsevered side of Lumen more and why she has that fear. But it's obviously something pretty fucking nefarious is going on.
Yeah, the way she portrays everything on her face is fantastic. You know what she's thinking. Like when he asks this question, she just does that awkward smile of like, yeah, I fucking hate it, but I can't tell you anything about it right now. It sucks, but
because they're watching and listening to everything.
Yeah.
Which is kind of terrifying. The actual performance review itself is... It's a really... I don't know, man. I'm feeling worse and worse for Milkshake as the season goes on. He's getting it from every angle, getting it from the Innies who are just being insubordinate for obvious reasons. And
middle management, yay!
I didn't know this until this episode. I don't know if we were supposed to know it or not, but the whole kindness routine and the things the unorthodox ways he was trying to, get back on board, get the Innies back on board. That was all his plan, everything he came up with. So, I mean, the whole, you need to go back to the Lumen way and tighten the leash kind of thing, that just another way of how they indoctrinate you, I guess.
Yeah, I think he does have compassion to him, because when Miss Wang says the thing about the funeral and how they'll think they're humans if they have a funeral.
Yeah, that was messed up. Yeah,
they'll
think they're people, and you're 13 years old. What the hell is going on?
You can tell, you can tell it's not his approach. So he does have this compassionate side to him, which is interesting, and I think it's going to come out more. So let's pivot from that straight to I know the scenes in between, but let's head straight to the scene with Mark in the elevator and Milkshake accosting him.
Well, that was him tightening the leash like he said he was going to do. And I think that's the first time Milkshake has ever, I don't know about sworn, but certainly dropped an F-bomb. So, I mean, I think, they didn't do that by accident. It was meant to be, a powerful scene. As far as the cinematography goes, there was actually a line down the screen. On one side, you had Milkshake. On the other side, you had Mark. And then right before he dropped that F-bomb, he crossed that line. So it was just sort of, if you go back on the rewatch, these are the things you notice. And just another way how good the cinematography is in the show.
And what I thought was probably the best scene of the episode, we see Irv again, which is awesome. And I wasn't sure if we're going to see him again until like the finale maybe, but it's good to see him. Drew, you have thoughts on this scene. What do you got?
Well, I mean, it's the second time, maybe the third time that we've seen Irv in that phone booth. I'd love to know who the hell he's talking to on the other end. I read, this isn't my theory. I saw on Reddit that some people are suggesting that it's Lumen's counter company, like their competition, Dorman or Dorschman or something like that. I thought that was kind of an interesting prospect to bring in sort of the competition for Lumen and see what they're doing. Or maybe it's Cobell, and maybe Cobell's trying to work for him, dismantle Lumen from the inside, and they're working together. Who knows? But that's sort of my takeaway as far as the phone booth goes. As far as Bert goes coming up on him, I'm starting to think Bert's shady. I'm starting to think that that at first I thought he was just another, itty outy, and they had a nice little love thing going on. It was super cute. I really liked everything, the dynamic between the two of them. But now I'm starting to think that there's some shady business going on, and Bert isn't exactly who we've been led to believe.
So with him talking about his erotic entanglement and that he was fired, more fuel to the flames to prove that he's lying and such. If outie Bert was told that he was fired, why did he do a video for his retirement party?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's something definitely shady about him. Another side note, wouldn't that meal be really awkward between the three of them? I hope we get to see that.
Oh, with the wine? With the expensive wine?
Yeah.
Ham and wine night.
Yeah, maybe we got a menage a trois situation going on, boys. It might be, Valentine's Day is pretty close by. It's that time of year. Love is in the air.
All right, let's push on to the final scene back at Mark's house, where Ragabi is just being her usual awful self. Why do you think she's so mean, by the way? What's happening there?
She's a former Lumen employee.
Yeah.
Ingrained in her.
Yeah.
She no longer drinks that Kool-Aid, does she?
Oh, I keep forgetting she actually murdered someone with a baseball bat as well, so that might have some...
nobody seems to care at all. It's disappeared.
There's no police in this town.
Nothing. Nobody.
All right, so that final scene, she's going through Gemma's stuff. Mark still has Gemma's ashes in his house, which I'm not sure if that's normal for people to keep them in the house that long after they've died.
People keep ashes in like little urns and shit on mantelplaces, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they have them displayed in a nice vase, but not in a box in a basement.
Yeah, but this is Mark, who's terrible at fucking grieving, clearly, so...
True, yeah. So yeah, anyway, this scene, he starts glitching, I guess we can call it, with the reintegration process, and ends up seeing his wife for the first time as his outie. That end shot where he's like crying is insane.
It's horrible. It's such a break your heart scene. Yeah, for me, it was like the reintegration's happening, and like he's getting memories from Innie put into his own head now. So like he's kind of there and not, and it's the memories of Miss Casey speaking to the Innie, but it's fucking horrible because it's the outie seeing his wife telling him things about himself and stuff, and it's just
And what is the final line she says? It's like it ends on like a little bit of a cliffhanger.
Your outie is going to, and then it cuts.
Okay, gentlemen, if you want to follow me over to Theory Corner.
Theory Corner. Mysterious Theory Corner.
My theory on Cobell, and I'm sure other people have thought this as well, but I think she's completely anti-Lumen. I think she's tried to ingrain herself in a way where she's tried to earn their trust, but I think ultimately she wants to sabotage the company. I think her mom was somehow, her death was correlates with something Lumen did. It was because of Lumen in some way, shape, or form. And I think her mother was also severed. And that's my theory. I think Cobell isn't, even though she appears dark, maybe sometimes gray, I think she's a little bit more towards, the good side than any of us have been led to believe.
Yeah, she is Cult of Kia, right? I don't think she's very pro-Lumen, but she's Cult of Kia, so... Okay, I like it. John, your theory for Theory Corner this week?
Is one that I touched on the top of the episode of where Fields, Bit's husband, is... I thought he was the dentist guy, and it kind of all links in a lot with a lot of their outside partners are working at Lumen. There's some things going on there, like Bert and Fields, Mark and Gemma... there's theories about Dylan and his wife is possibly working there as well. So I think it's a lot of kind of these things going on. So that's I think there's a lot of couples working at Lumen that they're not aware of.
Okay, I like it. I dig it. My other theory is regarding the most important thing in the history of the planet line. My initial thought on that was, well, what could be that mind-blowing? And I think it could be AI or clones designing another AI or clone. If Drew's theory is right about them all being clones, then maybe Mark and all the other people, while he's closest to finishing his file, maybe he is about to finish the programming of another AI.
That makes a lot of sense because you don't program people, you program electronics. So if programming something, in order to do a task, that makes more sense than actually programming Gemma herself. You're programming artificial intelligence to clone Gemma or to fix Gemma or whatever. That's actually really cool. I've never thought about that, but I agree with it.
I don't think Mark's a clone.
Okay. I don't have much to back it up, so I can't really argue with you.
Okay,
so.
Cool. Thank you for joining us again today. Drew, how do you feel about today? Any thoughts, feelings?
I enjoyed this episode as equally as I enjoyed every other episode.
Cool. So thanks again for listening to Severance with the Boys. You can catch us on all the socials. Thank you for listening here, wherever you go in, wherever your day is. We love you. You're the best. Be true to yourself. That's it. And as always,
praise Kia.
So Luke, I just wanted to remind you that your outie is going to...
Severance with the Boys is a production of Movie Time with the Boys. Written, performed, and edited by Luke Frost and John Davis. Original soundtrack and themes by Orhan Aden. And original artwork is by Zach Williams. Connect with us on Instagram and Blue Sky or email us at movietimewiththeboysmail@gmail.com.